Hey, how's it going? Jack here with a BTN news update for Friday, the 24th of May. First up, over the past few years, there's been a bit of a mysterious rise in a harmful gas called CFC, which is bad news for the Earth's ozone layer. Now, after a big investigation, researchers reckon they've found out which country's responsible and just how bad it is. So, what's going on? Well, first of all, let's start with the ozone layer. It's the atmosphere around the Earth, protecting us from the sun, absorbing up to 99% of its ultraviolet light. Without the ozone, life pretty much wouldn't exist because we'd all fry. But CFCs, or chlorofluorocarbons, can actually damage it. They used to be really common and could be found in spray cans, air cons, styrofoam containers, and fridges. When CFCs are released into the atmosphere, they eat away at the ozone layer. And by the 80s, people were seriously worried that it was in trouble. So world leaders came together and banned CFCs. And the ozone layer actually started repairing itself. But now there are worries CFCs are back. An investigation says CFC levels have been going up by about 7,000 tons each year, and that most of those emissions are coming from China. Authorities in China say they're going to work harder to make sure people aren't illegally using CFCs. Meanwhile, the rest of the world will be keeping a close eye out to make sure the ozone layer stays healthy and strong. Over in India, and the world's biggest election has just wrapped up. The winner was Narendra Modi. He's just been re-elected for another 5-year term as Prime Minister in a massive landslide. His party's won about 6 times as many seats as their biggest opponents, which is a lot because all up, 600 million votes were cast across 1 million polling stations, with about 245,000 candidates going for just 20,500 seats. That's a lot. In comparison, our election only had about 16 million votes. It was bad news for one of the candidates running. He only received 5 votes, despite the fact that there are 9 people in his family. That is going to be one awkward family reunion. A snake in a zoo in the UK has had babies, even though it's never met a male snake in its life. The anaconda lives at West Midlands Safari Park and shares an enclosure with another female snake. So you can understand why staff were a little shocked when she had 3 babies. It's something called parthenogenesis, when the embryos inside the egg develop without being fertilized. It's actually common in plants and insects and has happened with wild snakes before. But it was still a real surprise. And after doing some tests, the workers believe that the babies are actually clones of their mum. Pretty crazy stuff. And finally, Rihanna has been busy at work. The singer/actor/makeup rapper, a person who makes makeup, can now add fashion designer to her list of occupations. Rihanna has just unveiled her new line, Fenty. It's owned by LVMH, who also owns luxury labels like Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, and Givenchy. It's a pretty big deal because it's the first time a woman of colour has launched a brand with LVMH. In fact, it's the first major fashion brand that the company has founded from scratch since the 80s. Riri has been living in London for the past year getting the brand set up. But somehow she managed to keep that under wraps because turns out no one in London actually noticed she had moved there. And that's all the news I've got for you today and for this week, so we'll be back on Monday with more. Bye!